mai sì, che suona la campana, la campana, la campana.
Another form of dramatic singing emerging at the same time as these madrigal dramas were the interludes performed between the acts of a play. The most famous of them were those written for the various marriages of the Medici family in Florence. And it was in Florence that opera as we know it started. This was the beginning of that period in art and music known as the Baroque. The Renaissance had been a period of wonder, as people had discovered the world around them. In the Baroque era, they were becoming aware of themselves as individuals, aware of the world as a stage upon which every person must strut their time. Drama was to be found in everything. Buildings took on the look of a stage set with elaborate designs, carvings and paintings. The stage itself had discovered machinery for flying sets and artists. Composers were looking for grand, dramatic gestures. Opera, the grandest, most dramatic gesture of all, was an art form waiting to happen. The stimulus for its birth came from a group of Florentine academics and thinkers known as the Camerata Fiorentina. They met in the house of Count Bardi, and their number included the father of the astronomer Galileo, as well as the composers Jacopo Peri and Giulio Caccini. The group, looking back to ancient times for their inspiration, began to discuss how music and words might have been married in ancient Greece. We still know very little about the music of ancient times, simply because very little has survived. Although there is no evidence that the Camerata Fiorentina were right, they devised a system of word setting which involved a single vocal line sung in a free, declamatory manner and supported by a single instrument, what we would today call recitative. Their aim was to reflect the meaning of the words and not hold back the drama, as did madrigal settings. The first person to compose a piece in this new style was Jacopo Peri. Peri was a Roman, born in 1561, who had joined the Medici household in Florence as a singer and lutenist. He began his career as a composer when he was 21, writing the music for an interlude in one of the Medici court dramas. He also made a significant contribution to the spectacular Intermedi put on in 1589 for the wedding of Grand Duke Ferdinand to Christine of Lorraine. By the 1580s, Peri had become a member of the Camerata. It was Jacopo Corsi, Florence's leading music patron, who eventually encouraged him to write a new kind of musical drama along the lines he felt would have been written in ancient Greece. The result was Daphne, with a libretto by the poet Ottavio Rinuccini, which was first produced during Carnival in Florence in 1598. The score for Daphne has been lost. Peri's second attempt was Euridice, a piece based on the legend of Orpheus and Eurydice, written to be performed at the marriage of Henry IV and Maria de' Medici in 1600. It was from that date that the history of opera conveniently begins. Peri himself sang the title role of Euridice. The marriage was an important one for Florence politically, and the entertainments provided were designed to match the occasion. Unfortunately, the first performance of Euridice was not a success. Peri's colleague and fellow Camerata member Giulio Caccini, anxious not to be left out of this new musical experiment, wrote his own opera using Rinuccini's libretto and managed to get some of his music inserted into Peri's opera. Officially, Caccini had only been asked to write the music to accompany a play, and he wasn't best pleased. When it came to rehearsals for Euridice, he kept insisting the singers should rehearse his music, not Peri's. The result was an underprepared performance. While Jacopo Peri is generally credited with writing the first opera, there is one other person in Florence at the time who should be mentioned: Emilio de' Cavalieri. Born in Rome in about 1550, Cavalieri was, for a time, in overall charge of music for the Medicis. It was there that the three-act La rappresentazione di anima e di corpo, the portrayal of the soul and the body, was first performed in 1600. Here, time, with a capital T, sings of the transience of life. Because time flies and life is a wind, everyone should make the most use of it.
To keep listening to this audiobook for free, click the link in the description. It will take you to a free Audible trial where you can listen to this and many other books for free for 30 days.